What if at the root of all disease and all symptoms is just one thing? I'm Brandy Searcy. I'm a research scientist, and I've had many health struggles over the years. For decades, I turned to Western medicine as a first line of treatment. And uh, when that failed, I sought relief from many other modalities. So I've tried acupuncture. I've tried myofascial therapy. I've tried sound healing. I've sought relief from functional medicine practitioners, from naturopaths, from Ayurvedic doctors, from traditional Chinese medicine specialists. And at my worst, I was suffering from fatigue, migraine, weight gain, period problems like irregular cycle, and absolute worst of all was chronic UTI. All of that was on top of an autoimmune thyroid condition. And I'd fallen into this repetitive cycle of swapping practitioners as often as I was changing clothes, thinking that I just hadn't found the right one yet. And the only thing that got me out of this vicious cycle was when the practitioner that I was seeing for the chronic UTI handed me a prescription for a medication so powerful that I was sure I'd wind up dead. As I stared down at that prescription paper, I was shaken to my core. And in my mind, I heard that quote: the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And in that moment, I threw the prescription paper in the trash, walked out of the office, and vowed that I was going to figure out, I was actually going to be the one to get to the root of my health problems, figure it out, and get past them. And that's what I did. I put my head down and I employed the research skills which I have, once again, as a research scientist, and I started asking the question, why? And the really interesting thing is that as you begin asking why, and you do it over and over and over again, it's possible to unearth some really, like, it's possible to unearth some really critical information, which is what I did. What I discovered was that the root of every disease and every illness is metabolic dysfunction. A healthy, well-tuned metabolism is able to efficiently turn the food that you are eating into fuel, to into energy to fuel your body. Okay. So, and any extra food that you eat is stored to be able to be converted into energy in between meals. So while you're fasting, whether that's overnight fast, whether that's like in between meals, because we are not eating 24 hours a day, right? Like most of us are eating about 3 meals a day and maybe 3 to 4 meals a day and have an overnight fast. So our cells need energy every single second of every single day. So in between the times when you're actively eating, you are able to meet your body's energy demands and the cell energy demands by releasing stored food from the reserves in your body. Okay. Now, once I discovered this link between a thriving, well-functioning metabolism and relief from symptoms, I was able to break free of the symptoms I'd been struggling with for over a year and a half. And I was able to do this very quickly, like within 1 week. And how did I do that exactly? Well, it turns out that it's not just metabolic dysfunction, but there's actually three key hormones that are involved in maintaining a thriving metabolism. And so when you focus on these three key metabolic hormones, which have nothing to do with estrogen and progesterone, when you focus on these three key metabolic hormones, it is possible to restore the body's ability to efficiently release energy from food, efficiently release stored food, stored fuel for energy conversion in between meals. So, wondering if this was just a fluke, I started working with other people to see whether my discovery played out in their health and wellness. And it did. My insights were transforming the lives of people across the country. I was getting rave reviews and testimonials just pouring in. And because ultimately I was helping them break free of conditions that they thought they were going to have to live with for life. I mean, if you have ever had chronic UTI or interstitial cystitis, something where every minute of every day you are acutely aware of it because you are in pain. The same thing goes with chronic migraine, the same thing goes with fatigue. Any of those, you know how debilitating they are and how life altering they are. So, um, all it took for that transformation, all it took for helping these people was to recognize that metabolic dysfunction was at the root of their symptoms and actually make changes to diet, lifestyle, and exercise to support the recovery of these three key metabolic hormones back into a state of balance. That's all it took. So I went on like what what I did ultimately was continue to work with people one-on-one. And the more I worked with clients one-on-one, the more I started to see patterns emerge that helped me to form a protocol that worked very quickly and very reliably for lots of different people. And this was for fast relief and fast recovery, like quickly supporting shifting their metabolism from a state of strive to a state of thrive. And as their metabolism shifted, symptoms just fell away as quickly as they appeared. So now, for the very first time, I'm sharing this protocol outside of my one on one work with clients. You're able to access it in my program, The Metabolic Shift from Strive to Thrive. Here's a glimpse of what's inside. So, inside, we talk about the three key metabolic hormones. We also talk about what I call the hormone lattice, and this is how those three key metabolic hormones impact the hormonal balance of every other hormone in your body. So, if you have problems with your menstrual cycle, a lot of times that points back to a problem in these three key metabolic hormones. In fact, it always points back to a problem in those three key metabolic hormones. It's not enough just to focus on estrogen and progesterone. Those are actually symptoms. And we talk about why those are symptoms inside this program. In addition, we talk about why women are more prone to autoimmune conditions than men and how to restore balance. Like, this is the important part of it, right? How to restore balance to that hormone lattice to shift your metabolism from strive setting to thrive setting using diet, exercise, and lifestyle. We talk about what the must-have labs are for detecting an imbalance in the three key metabolic hormones. And then lastly, we talk about when lab work fails, why tracking symptoms is more important than blood work to sustain a thriving metabolism. Okay. This program's different from any other because of its simplicity. I'm not into selling you a bunch of useless supplements. I'm not into selling you a bunch of pointless labs. I'm here to reassure you that your symptoms are valid, even if your lab work suggests that you are perfectly fine. My lab work was perfectly fine, but I was still experiencing all of these excruciating symptoms. There was like fundamentally what was going wrong with me was my metabolism was out of whack. And once again, if you are experiencing symptoms, this is your body's way of telling you that something is off. And as much as we want to, like, as much as we're trained and conditioned to ignore those symptoms, those really are your body's language and how your body communicates with you. And so one of the bonuses included in this program actually discloses why we experience symptoms oftentimes years before the blood work shows signs of disease. And here's the good news. This is really good news. You are not made to be sick. You are made for wellness. When you focus on restoring your metabolism, your body responds quickly and realigns you with a state of health and well being as it becomes better able to meet energy demands. It is able to shift more quickly out of that fight or flight stressed state into rest and digest because it is more at ease knowing that it's able to meet energy demands. Now, I am not the only one who's adopted this new perspective of health. There are leading edge scientists at world renowned universities like MIT. And there's also research physicians across the globe who have started talking more and more about metabolic dysfunction, about mitochondrial health. Those, you can think of those as one and the same, they're just synonyms for each other. And here's the rest of the story. You could piece all of this together on your own, like I did, or you can take advantage of the work that I've already done for you and very rapidly break free of your symptoms by incorporating what you discover in this program. So if you're ready to leave behind life-limiting symptoms, click the link below to start your metabolic shift from strive to thrive. Now, this program right now is offered at, so first of all, it is $100 value. This program is 100, like sold $100. It's really worth way more than that, but that's the price. That's how I'm pricing it right now. Now, you are not going to pay that much. Right now, you are able to access all of this content for $27. So click that link below to get started right now. I can't wait to see you inside.